Hey sweeties, I just finished ABO Desire and honestly, I need a support group. Because that ending? What was that? Like, they built us up for 16 episodes, had my emotions doing gymnastics, and then just snip, credits roll. I was sitting there like, excuse me? Come on, bring it back. But before we get into all that, let me just say, this series had me in a chokehold from the first episode. The moment they started throwing in pheromones, alphas, betas, and all that delicious ABO drama, I knew I wasn't sleeping that night. And the funniest part, they actually made the science make sense. I was fully invested, like, yes, explain the genetics to me, Daddy Alpha. I swear, this show had everything: passion, tension, mystery, and a few moments that had me checking if this was really a Chinese BL or if someone accidentally leaked the director's cut. But one thing about me, I'll love you and still roast you. So yeah, let's talk about ABO Desire, the show that gave us everything and still somehow managed to snatch it back at the end. Okay, so let's talk about the real shocker here, the ABO system. Because let's be honest, most of the time when a series says we're doing ABO, it ends up feeling like a weird science project mixed with a Wattpad fever dream. But ABO Desire, they actually did it right. They didn't just throw in alphas, betas, and omegas for chaos or pheromone sniffing. They gave it structure, politics, rules. Like, this thing had an entire functioning society behind it. I was sitting there like, wait, hold on. Did y'all just make biological hierarchy sound like social commentary? Because wow. And for once, I didn't feel like I was watching a biology lecture disguised as romance. You know, that kind of show where every 5 minutes someone's like, your pheromones are reacting to my dominance. Yeah, none of that over-explaining nonsense here. It was classy. It was spicy. It was scientifically unserious, but emotionally accurate. Plus, the Enigma twist. Oh, that was the chef's kiss. Like, not them saying, what if someone doesn't fit into your neat little alpha or omega box, and actually making it make sense. That was genius. It added that extra flavor. Like when your food's already good, but then someone sprinkles a little pepper and you're like, yes, that's the kick I needed. I just love that they explored the ABO world without turning it into a power struggle every 2 minutes. Nobody was running around barking orders like, I'm an alpha. Respect me. It was more about identity, emotion, and how people function in a society built around something they didn't choose. That's deep for a BL that also gave us jawlines sharp enough to cut glass. Now, let's talk about the romance, because tell me why both couples in this show were acting like they were competing for a Best Chemistry award. Like, calm down. One pair's over there giving dangerous, unhinged passion, and the other's giving emotional trauma with a side of longing stares. Either way, I was eating it up. First of all, Hua Yang and Sheng Xiaoyu. Oh my god. The tension between these two could power the national grid. From the first scene, you just know something's off. Hua Yang's pretending to be this delicate little omega, all soft voice and sad eyes, but baby, that man was calculating every breath. And Xiaoyu? That man fell so hard, so fast, he didn't even realize he was walking straight into a trap made of pheromones and pretty lies. And the chemistry? Please. I was literally fanning my face like, calm down, sir, we get it, you're an alpha. Every time they locked eyes, I could hear the background music screaming forbidden desire while I screamed, get a room. It's toxic, manipulative, psychologically messy, and I loved every second of it. It's less romantic love story and more obsession turned performance art, and honestly, I respect that. But let's be real for a second. Hua Yang's love? That wasn't love. That was psychopathic devotion with a smile. Like, the man was obsessed on a level that deserves its own therapy session. You could see it in how he'd manipulate, lie, and still manage to make you believe he was the victim. It's like he looked at the concept of love and said, cool, but what if it's slightly terrifying? And the wild part? It worked. Somehow his madness made the whole thing 10 times more magnetic. What I really love about this pairing, though, is how they flipped the usual dynamic. Hua Yang might look like the submissive one, but that man had all the control. He was playing chess while everyone else was still learning checkers. Every time Xiaoyu tried to be dominant, Hua Yang basically said, cute. Anyway, here's how this is going to go. That's not romance, that's strategy disguised as seduction. And somehow it worked. Then there's the second couple, Gao Tu and Shen Wenlong. Oh, these two had me pacing the room. Their chemistry wasn't fiery. It was that slow, painful, we've known each other for years, but can't say what we really feel type of love. You know, the kind that makes you want to shake both of them and yell, "Just kiss already before the series ends." Gao Tu is basically the martyr of the show, hiding who he is because Wenling has this deep hatred for Omegas. Like, sir, therapy exists. But the emotional payoff when Wenling slowly realizes that the beta he's been protecting all this time is actually the Omega he's been secretly in love with, that's the kind of drama that deserves its own violin soundtrack. What made their chemistry hit even harder is how quiet it was. It wasn't about pheromones or dominance, it was loyalty, regret, and that aching kind of love that just sits in your chest like a weight. If Huayang and Xiaoyu were chaos and fire, Gao Tu and Wenling were rain and heartbreak. One couple made me blush, the other made me want to write sad poetry. So yeah, both romances served completely different flavors, and that's what made ABO Desire so addictive. You get one love story that's basically psychological warfare with kisses, and another that's emotional self-destruction with tears. And you know what? I'd watch both again, with snacks, obviously. Okay, now let's talk about the length, because, be honest, did this series really need 16 episodes? I mean, the pacing wasn't bad, but halfway through, I started checking the progress bar like, wait, we're still on episode 12? For what exactly? Don't get me wrong, it didn't drag to the point of pain, but some scenes? Babes, they were moving like molasses in January. I swear there were moments that could have been done in half the time. They could have told that whole story in 12 episodes and still had time for lunch, a nap, and maybe a bonus episode of actual closure. There were points where I was watching Huayang and Xiaoyu have another intense stare down, and I'm like, didn't we already emotionally combust over this last week? Like, please, blink twice and move on. The tension's been tensioning since episode 5, we got it. And don't even get me started on Gao Tu and Wenlong. My sweet, emotionally constipated couple. You gave them crumbs and called it a subplot? I wanted a full course meal. They'd show up, share one heart-wrenching moment, and then disappear for 4 episodes like ghosts haunting the background. It's giving romantic tease, not romantic arc. I just feel like if they had trimmed some of those extra long dramatic pauses and inner monologues, we could have had more time for the second couple to shine. Or at least an episode where they actually talk about their feelings instead of just staring at each other across emotional cliffs. So, yeah, 16 episodes might have been a flex, but for what they actually had story-wise, it was kind of like buying a family-sized pizza when you're eating alone, unnecessary, but you'll still finish it out of commitment. And speaking of things that didn't need that much time, let's talk about that ending. Because wow, after dragging us for 16 whole episodes, 16, they suddenly decided to sprint to the finish line like the editor had a bus to catch. The finale was so rushed I honestly thought my player skipped a scene. I was sitting there blinking like, wait, that's it? That's how we're ending? They said, let's make it dramatic, and then forgot to actually show the drama. Emotional scenes were cut so short, it felt like the editor's scissors were possessed. 1 minute someone's crying, next minute, boom, we're in the credits. I swear the fade out hit harder than the plot resolution. And let's talk about that Mpreg shocker, because I was not ready. Nobody was ready. I genuinely thought we'd see Alpha Sheng Xiaoyu and Omega Gao Tu both glowing with their little pregnancy arcs. You know, something emotional, something soft, but no. They hit us with the surprise. It's happening. And then immediately I saw a 5-year-old baby. I just sat there like, you're joking, right? The last episode was chopped left, right, and center. Scenes were missing. Transitions made no sense. And don't even get me started on Shen Wenlong. I was expecting a proper reconciliation, maybe a deep emotional talk, maybe even a kiss that says, we've suffered enough. But nah, my poor heart was shattered like glass and swept off screen before I could even process it. Honestly, even a 5-minute special episode could have fixed everything. Just something small, a reunion scene, or even Gao Tu getting a well-deserved moment of peace. But nope. They left us with chaos and heartbreak like, see you never, my heart wasn't ready, my brain wasn't ready, and clearly, the production wasn't either. And now you're telling me there might be more? Don't play with me like that. My heart's still in recovery, and you're out here dangling hope like it's a limited time offer. Apparently, it all depends on fan engagement. Like, sir, do you want my soul too? I've already rewatched scenes, screamed on social media, and emotionally adopted the characters. What more engagement do you need? But fine, if they actually give us a special episode, I'll clear my calendar, cancel my plans, and sit front row like it's a royal coronation. Even if it's Ching Yu staring at the baby monitor while Gao Tu hums lullabies in the background, I'll take it. However, if they don't give us anything, oh, it's personal. I'm starting a full protest. I'll print posters, make hashtags, and cry dramatically in public. Because you can't give me 16 episodes of chaos, end it like you lost the remote, and then act like we're just supposed to move on. No, I need closure. I need peace. And I need that special episode before I start writing my own fanfiction out of pure frustration. But you know what? I loved every minute of this show. It gave drama, it gave emotions, it gave editing so questionable I almost filed a complaint, but I still couldn't look away. It wasn't perfect, but it was bold, entertaining, and dangerously addictive. The kind of show that stresses you out, breaks your heart, and somehow makes you say, one more episode, shall we? So yeah, I love this mess. Completely. Now tell me, did that finale destroy you too, or are you emotionally stronger than me? And do you think we deserve a season 2, or should we just start writing our own ending at this point? Tell me in the comments. I want to know.